Viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. Hopefully you guys can basically hear me and see me without any issue. Audio and video are in sync. I'm waiting for incognito window to give me a feedback. So, and you guys can also type that if you are getting audio video, then type yes AVP. To my channel Science to Technology. Hopefully you guys can basically hear me and see me without any issue. Audio. So as of now, I think audio and video is working without any issue. Although some things I do have to clarify. Seems like I've been going through a rough patch in life where my health is like on a holiday, so to say. So I have a very bad cough today. My apologies. And so let's get started. So what are the big things happened? Well, the big thing, that is the biggest thing, is that Trump will gain super majority, meaning not only he is gonna get presidential, Senate, House also. That was just called few hours ago. So House is also good. So what does that mean? That simply means if he wants to pass a law or any executive decision and all that, it can be done without any, meaning the probability of him making a promise to public, then writing that law, then getting it through the Senate and House is now exponentially higher, meaning he is far more powerful compared to 2016 and most likely even more powerful than he would have compared to what he would have gotten in 2020. So this 4 year, like it's almost like, you know, somebody is watching over him. It's like, you know, be it from assassination attempt or be like, this is a super majority is a very rare thing in US elections. And again, it has been quite some time since somebody got super majority, as in like taking care of all three. So it's a big deal. Let that be very clear. This is a big deal. And Trump also has another benefit that he does not have to give a damn about re-election, because again, he can only run for 2 terms. He have already completed one of his terms, so second term is there. So he can go all in. So that's a very big news, like from a world point of view. Harshal, AV good, thank you so much. Now I know for a fact that audio and video is working. And I do want to clarify certain things. Whenever we are talking about politics, you have to understand there is no absolution here. It's like, oh, this will happen or that will happen. Everything is just a guess. And again, politics is so messy that quantum physics will start to make more sense. Let that be very clear. So anything that you are hearing about it, you have to have the ability to handle it as in like, you know, just a grain of salt or truck of salt, so to say. Now, certain aspect that Donald Trump talked about, I've already made one video, and another video specifically his focus on renewable energy is going to come next week. And will that have an impact on the global politics? Absolutely, because here's the deal. There are a lot of tariffs in play. There is a lot of stuff in motion that is allowing things to work. For example, Trump's approach to economics is very simple. And again, it is more likely to be logical given the fact that he actually is a businessman and he has actually run multiple businesses. Some of them have failed, some of them pass. And I've seen a lot of people say, oh, he has failed in businesses. Like, what kind of failed businessman has a billions of dollars and where he can dump millions of his own wealth in order to become a president? And that list is very small. Okay, let that be very clear. That list is very small. So calling anyone dumb in that list is like, it's just like, Now, you can completely disagree with his politics, completely disagree with his rhetoric, but calling that dude dumb is like, nah, it's a bad representation of your own character. Like, you can call him whatever you want to, but you cannot call him dumb. Like, that's the one thing that you cannot. And another aspect is that this left's obsession with where he's calling him hey. So every time you call him him, you basically reduce the word power basically. Now if you are calling him hey and now you say no, he's a convicted felon, it does not hold any water. It's like you already called him the worst thing that is theoretically possible and you have been doing it from 2016. It's not going to hold any water. Like, that's why like words have a reason to exist. You cannot just use that word for like, and again, it will piss off way too many people, because history, while we consider hate for the Jews and all that, but again, that's a very small section. That's a very small section why people hate him. The World War II that he created was so destructive, so you know what you call unnecessarily like, you know, bloody, that it was like the death count is brutal. Let that be very clear. It was brutal. So comparing that kind of blood count compared to Trump, you are not basically making Trump sound bad. You are making him sound like, okay, he must not be that bad, because again, Trump did came, no World War III was started, nothing bad happened. It's like, what the hell? So that's one thing. That's why be very reasonable with like, you know, accusation. If your accusation just goes lol, yeah, so, you know, you have to be very mindful of that. Rahul Pal, hello to you. Does he have any plans for seaweed biofuel? he does not believe in global warming, and he's very clear about that. And I would urge you to watch that Joe Rogan podcast and all that. And again, I do not blame him. Like this part, I have talked about many videos ago that the primary reason why global warming is messed up is that scientists shit the bed. They really messed up because here's the they rushed to conclusion way too early. And compare that to, let's say, ozone hole depletion. Everybody knew what was happening. Everybody figured out what to do. We did it, and it has been slowly taking care of itself. Like, okay, it's a very clear-cut thing. Why compare that to global warming? First, not everybody was in agreement, and again, that time should have been kept for within scientists. Is like, okay, let's apply some breaks, because again, what we call great. Extraordinary circumstances require extraordinary evidence, so to say. So they were very rushed to public. That should not have happened. They should have kept their mouths shut for at least 5 to 10 more years, got everybody agreeing to it, and then they would have opened their mouth and people were like, okay, what are you telling us? What are the options? Then we could have done that. But because they blew their load so quickly, it basically defanged it. And again, all their calculations were so wrong. That's why I'm like so angry with them. It's like, dude, your calculations were, that's why you must have seen the movies that were coming in early 2020s, not 2020, 2000s and 1990s. It's like it's gonna flood the, no, even if you melt everything in basically polar ice caps, both north and south, it will still not remove the basically land. But again, movies were made because again, that's what scientists were claiming. They were wrong. And again, the prediction, that's the core fact of science. Science does not give a damn about whether you understand it properly or not. Science gives a damn whether can you predict it within reasonable accuracy. For example, Newton is like, to affect his mathematical superiority, is like, okay, I'm gonna tell in this date at this time in the evening from this location of the sky, basically something will pass by. Okay, so more precision, and then that happens, people are like, damn, he knows what he's talking about. That's science is. It's like, I'm gonna tell you this and it's going to happen within margin of error. You cannot just say, oh, I think Trump could win and Trump could lose. That means nothing. You have to give it within margin of error. So it's like, you know what, I'm 95% sure that Trump's gonna win, and then he wins it, then you are like, damn, he knows what he's talking about. And in global warming, they messed up royally. And again, I do not blame them, but their rush to scream was like really detrimental to this effect. So again, a lot of people do not believe him because again, if Trump is old. You have to understand, he has been seeing this sort of rhetoric going on, oh, the world will end, because again, their calculations were wrong in the early days. And now even if we have right calculation, he's like, how do you know it's the right calculation? You already pissed the bed in the first place. And again, I can't blame someone for that. So that's one thing. Can you make a video on Indian Railway? I'm getting a lot of railway requests. That's weird. Okay, I'll see about that. The first time I soldering a light bulb, I realized my hands were shaking while soldering. Yeah, it is like, I also have a very shaky hand. Like, it's not a very stable hand. So some people do have that sort of jittery hand. And but again, you can get a lot of things done. And again, if you are working with modern electronics, most of them are surface mounted, so you can get a lot of stuff done. Left side. Okay. So why does the inflation is the only reason people don't want to give? What's the broken family unit, and does it also directly impact population decline? Here's the family unit decline has been turbocharged. Let that be very clear. It has been turbocharged because here's the whenever you create a rhetoric that is destructive, people do not buy it very quickly. Be it Soviet Union, be it basically North Korea. If you create a rhetoric that is too stupid, people will not directly digest it. But if you have other things that are breaking people at the same time, then you can cause massive damage, which we call compounding error. So you have bad ideology, which again, destruction of family unit, and then you have increasing inflation exponentially very quickly, which is breaking people. So, and again, now people are far more stressed. Now fathers are breaking, the moms are working 24/7, fathers are working 24/7, everybody is poor. So now the family units, whichever was there, it's not degrading because it's under too much stress, right? Every structure is designed to handle a certain amount of stress. But if you're like, but what if we nuke that? It's like, dude, there is an upper limit how much stress can handle. And again, if that sort of stress, do that for let's say 4 years, 5 years, it will break things that should have been like, bruh, I don't care. So that's the one thing where I'm talking about. Family unit destruction was a completely different thing. Inflation is a very recent thing. These two are just compounding each other. So because again, nowadays people are like, dude, there's no point of making a family because you can't afford it. So that's the whole point. Family unit was already in the the last breath, and then this inflation was like, okay, I'll put you out of your misery, so to say. Does grinding developing skills really pay back in like I was doing it and didn't get a reward? I really developed good skill. Does it take time? What is your point on experience? See, I am the wrong person to talk about the grinding mindset. While I did got a lot of things right, financially I'm not a very healthy individual, so to say. Heck, most likely I would have been making more money if I were in Bangalore as a 3D game artist. However, let that be very clear, I would have been poorer there because again, Bangalore is expensive AF. So even though my salary would be huge, the condition of living would be very, very bad. So I'm not the right person about my. Now, in terms of grinding, guaranteeing a win, hell no. There is no guarantee in this world. If anybody tells you that they are selling you a course or you are stupid, there is no other scenario where, I'm going to do this and it's guaranteed. That's what I keep talking about. Like, if you try to do something, there is no guarantee that it's going to work. Like, sometimes it does happen, which is a cool thing, awesome thing. But, you have to be very mindful of that. Like, does not guarantee it. And if you get bitter when the results are not like you really need to work on yourself. Trust me, life is not fair. The only cool thing is Mr. International, the song. He has an interview where he talked about something very, very poignant. Where he's like, sorry about that. A lot of people say, you is in a different language, so it's like you are so lucky and all that. Is like, the funny thing is, the harder I work, the luckier I get, and that's the most absolute part about it. For example, if I'm trying to make a 3D printed hard drive enclosure, the thumbnail of this video, trust me, video is coming, and I'm very happy with this because it worked. So I am making a 3D printed enclosure where I can do hot swapping of the hard drives. Cool, awesome. But here's the deal: what is the probability of this working if I don't make it? You will be right, 0. What is the probability of it working if I actually make it? Let's say 51% or 50% or whatever, but it's above 0. So what if I tried to do it? What is the likelihood of it succeeding versus if I had not tried it? That's the only guarantee you get in life. If you try it, there is some probability that is going to work. And again, I'm not joking. I was so freaked out that it actually worked, because I have a very long history of I think almost all YouTube creators have this. It's like, we're going to do this and that, and it's just like fades away. It's just that I built it on last Saturday, and I was like done. Everything that needed to be done was done. So I was like, okay, what if I have to test it? I did not test it on Saturday because I was so shocked. Because again, the project was finished. It's like, what now? I put it on my computer on Saturday. Sunday. And it worked. It actually fit inside the case. I was like genuinely worried that it may be taking too much space. It may not fit. It actually fit. I thought, okay, it would not work. It did not work. And I was like, what the hell? Why it's not working? And then I realized it was Ethernet cable that was malfunctioning, not the hard drives and all that. And it worked. Heck, I was so confused by it. It's like, did I do something and it actually worked? I was so confused. I was like, okay, you know what? I have to test it. Is Anupam Ipul going through a lucky spell right now? So it's like, I took the power cable that has 3 voltage rails. Basically a 12 volt, 5 volt, 3.3 volt, and 2 earthing in between. So basically 12 volt, earthing, 5.5 volt, 5 volt, sorry, and earthing, and then 3.3 volt. So SATA power cable. I injected inline SATA cables. I literally modified my my freaking PSU. I opened it because again, then I realized it's like, hey, I have a primary computer. If I bork this, nothing bad's gonna happen. So I can try it. I did it. It worked. That's the screenshot. That's the inline power cable. I saw this in one YouTuber 15 years ago. He had Black Dwarf NAS, and that has been stuck in my head for 15 years. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and it worked. I'm like, I cannot tell you, like, it felt so confusing, where it's like, are you telling me that if I actually do something, it will actually work? What the hell? So it's weird. Sometimes it does happen. So, but again, the likelihood of success is directly proportional to trying. Nothing more than that. Do you think NVIDIA will make the RTX 5000 series slightly less expensive than RTX 4000 series? Heck no. There is no genuine competition. Now, there is a probability because again, Intel has been working their ass off, and again, they are getting their ass kicked in other division. It's in Intel's best interest to keep working on there. And people are saying the basically GPU that they have bought, ARC GPUs, they are now far more effective, far more productive compared to what they were one year ago. So driver has been getting a lot of update. And again, the silicon is good. It's just the driver that sucks. But again, if Intel keeps polishing it, there is a good chance they could become a very good competitor, maybe even better than AMD. So if they keep pushing it, only then, if AMD has a good hardware and Intel has good hardware, only then NVIDIA will reduce price. Right now, both of them are smoking weed. ARC is actually good because again, it's low cost, so people are actually buying it. Again, some people are buying it for NAS so they can do media encoding, but people are buying it. So that's the first thing that an Intel has to do. Cut everybody on price. Now again, the primary reason why AMD fails in graphics card is simply because NVIDIA is charging this much, I'm gonna charge this much. It's like, no bro, your product is here. And this idea of saying, oh, they ages like a fine wine, no, electronics does not age well. Electronics have something known as capacitor. It has something known as resistors. All of them drift over time. So a graphics card that you buy today and you have to wait 1 year for its driver to actually allow it to fly, yeah, you have already consumed 1 year. And again, updates are only done for like say 4 cycles or 5 cycles. You all also consumed that also. It's not recommended. They have to reduce the price. Again, there is a very good saying, like there is no bad product, only bad prices. AMD really has bad prices. So there is a good chance that Intel, if they keep working, they can reduce, like if they can flood the market with cheap graphics card, which is actually good, then only I can see Nvidia is like, okay, now there is some competition. Because again, even if they are making boatload of money in their like, you know, AI division, nobody likes to lose money. Nobody likes to lose the market share. So then only I can see. Railway is a good, I request you if possible, make a video how big Indian railway network is, why Indian railway wants 15-year guaranteed data. See, wanting guaranteed data is not a wise decision or desire. It's a stupidity. It's basically it's cowardice, nothing more than. Because here's the deal, whatever you are buying right now, if Indian Railway is like, okay, I need 15 years, that means that somebody at some point had the balls to actually build it and test it and then give you the 15 year, right? That's how things are. It's not like photosynthesis and things are following. We are going to Japan and buying their technology. How the heck they built it? Again, they must have tested it. They must have gone through accidents. They must have gone through that. That pipeline is priceless and we are scared of that pipeline. So again, that's not a good thing to ask. It's like, hey, I need 15 years of data. No, no, no. That's the same brain damage that India did. That's why we do not have jet engines. It's like, I want a Mark II fighter jet when India got independence 75 years ago. It's like, bruh, jet engine just became a thing. Just a thing. And you are like, I want Mark II. It's like, bruh, shut up. Take a plane, make the goddamn plane, make the whole infrastructure, make the whole pipeline. We built it. The engine was not built by us, it was bought. I mean, ironically, it's still the same thing. Why? Because we abandoned that project because it was not Mark II. You cannot have that. Like, you have to have the balls to go through the pipeline. Again, I would not have succeeded if I have not printed, like, you know, bad designs. Again, just a small example. For example, this was my first clip design. I thought this will flex. This did not flex enough. Again, this design is bad. So as you can see now in this one, I've changed the design. Now it flexes far more easily. So it always happens like that. Like, you can never ever make something like, you know, right in one go. If you are expecting that, you are a very poor engineer or unwise. That's the whole point. What's the core reason for inflation? Is free money to poor or anything else? It's many things. It's not just one thing. The primary source is government is spending more money than it has. So basically, let's say tax collection is 1,000 crore. They're spending 2,000 crore. And again, when they fail to pay, then they are like, okay, now we print more money. So that's the primary source of it. And how do government over budget? That's up to them. Some government is like, okay, we're gonna build like, you know, 4-lane or 8-lane like, you know, road network. It's like, why? If you really have that much throughput, that means you are damaged. You should not require 8-lane road. If like, okay, India is moving grains and we need trucks. No, you need a railway line. If you need that much, you need a freaking railway line. Like, imagine it this way, if India was wise, it's like, okay, instead of building, let's say 4-lane, what if we build 2 railway lines or even one railway line, and then we just have like, you know, lanes on the side, almost like a tram. Again, you will have a boundary because again, cars will be driving fast, train will be driving, you will have boundary. Benefit of that, land is only one. And where do you stop the train? You stop the train wherever you have that joints, because again, in express road network, you do not have a lot of what you call intersections, very few. So every intersection is a what you call a railway station. And you just do what you do in basically Manali, where you have a train, one track plus and minus. So you have train parks in the station, the next train passes and then it goes. So one line. And now that will allow you to move far more goods, far more cheaply, even if it's a diesel system. You don't even have to try electric system because it's too expensive. It will save more diesel for country. It will allow far, and again, you can have roll on and roll off, which again, India does do sometimes. But if India is like, what if you will 8-lane highways everywhere? It's like, no, you are bankrupting the country. No country should need 8-lane highway. And again, if you're like, okay, why did Germany do it? It was a war project. It was designed as a war project. So that's the whole thing. Gandhiji, I'm your 4th subscriber. Huh. Interesting, thank you. No, I do not think we are on the same page. I think you may be talking about something else. Okay, anyway. Can you give hints about world's democracy? What about family law problem? Again, 1984. Sorry about that. Hold on. My apologies. My throat is being bad, so to say. Now, basically, inherently, the idea is that if society becomes too cucked, they are like, okay, women should not suffer. I'm like, life is suffering. Get over it. Life is suffering. And every time, every civilization that tries to alleviate suffering before it happens, it falls apart. You have to go through suffering. Like that's what I'm keep telling people. It's not about whether you have suffering or less suffering. It's like, is it worth or not? For example, if you're suffering but you have a loving family and things are working, all the grind that you are doing, it's justified. You're like, hey, I'm happy, I'm okay to do this. But if that system breaks and it's like, no, I do not want any suffering, it's like, no, life is suffering, get over it. But if you do that, for example, now people are like, that husband is not very very romantic or whatever have you, like, go to a family court near you, you will see the reasons why women are divorcing, and it's like, it's never like, oh, this is so bad. It's like, it's never that. It's very menial things. But here's she is suffering, that's why she has to suffer anyway. Now, what we did to break this is like, okay, what if we do not allow women to suffer but give them the money? You just killed a family unit at that point in time. And we were like, no, like she gave this. No, both of them got into a contract willingly and with mutual understanding. And if you do not agree with that, you're like, no, it's oppression and all that, ban marriage. So what we do instead of banning marriage, which would have finally showed women what is the penalty of like, oh, I can do everything. No, actually try to do everything. And then you're like, oh, it's not easy. That's why men never have this sort of ego. It's like, we can do everything. No, we know for a fact there is a limitation. But you give them, okay, if you are ever uncomfortable in home, just fire your husband. We're going to give you his property. We're going to give you a salary. And you're going to get that until you get remarried or until you die. Who's going to keep marriage up? Like India did that in 1984. So the marriage unit requires suffering, both parties. And again, men were suffering, men are suffering, men will be suffering. We know this. This is a normal thing. But it's like, no, what if we alleviate women's suffering? It's like, no, you cannot. If you try to do that, you will learn the reason why we have a saying, road to hell is paved by good intention. You have to suffer. And you're like, oh, he has money, but he's not loving, or like, he's this. Again, his money has that package. It's always like two sides of the same coin. But you're like, no, I don't want. Again, don't get married. But if government is like, okay, what if we give the money and then F the husband? It's like, okay, you unbalance the equation, now you should die. And again, all the countries, 150 countries that did that, they are dead, already dead. So can you make why NASA failed to build rockets? It's more about bureaucracy, and again, this is a what you call past topic, given the fact that SLS will be most likely the last rocket they ever built. After that, they can still getting money for building budgets and all that, building missions, so to say, but they will not get money for building rockets. SLS was really bad. Really bad. Okay, after seeing your own project is working, is a really priceless feeling. No, that's the part. I was so confused. Like, it worked. I was so confused. It's like, what now? Like, it's like, you're working like, one of my friend who is in Australia, he said like, when he was in India, he was giving so many interviews, getting rejected. And he's like, when I was in Australia, he was like prepared, ultra prepared. It's like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to like, grind ass. And I was like, he worked really ass off. And then his interview actually happened and it's like, oh yeah, just join. He's like, what the hell? So something like that happened to me this Sunday, where it's like, it's actually working. It's like, I was like, okay, wait a minute. I did something stupid and it worked. What the hell? So that was funny. So very weird. Like, I'm genuinely telling you, it's like a very weird feeling. Do you think India will be good place in the terms of electrical independence as we keep making solar plants and we are getting also doing rooftop solar, making HVDC grids electrification? No, one thing is missing. Again, I have seen some hope in that Modi government has introduced plans to make pumped hydro. And again, without that, there is no other technology that can work at the scale needed. And another aspect that is bit better, not bit better as in like it is worse in terms of round trip efficiency, but it is awesome in terms of recycling our old hardware, where it's like, using coal power plant as thermal, which again I talked about in E2S power. If both of them start to get mass adoption, only then India can have that. Because again, we are on the right track. We are still not touching seaweed biofuel. Without that, we will always have dollar dependency. So that's the penalty aspect of it. Sorry about this. So to give a reason behind why people demanding 15 years data, they give a reason behind is for people's security. Again, everything had that. Think it through, na? Like that. How the heck Japanese people built it, right? We are buying basically bogies. The wheel bogies are from Sweden. How the heck they built it? right? How the heck they built it? Because again, nothing was like, and again, India should never even need it because we have so many freight network where it's like, okay, we built this new bogie. We do not know how stable it is. No problem, put it on a freight locomotive, freight structure, and then test it out. That's how it's supposed to be done. You cannot use safety as an argument because again, everything was made at some point. If you know IG, there are people in Indian Railway who want to, if you know IG, there are people, I think that's 15. I just came across the offshore nuclear reactor. Any thoughts on that? See, nuclear reactor I do not like simply because it has very poor ROI. It's always paper tiger. Basically, oh, you built it, it will be cheap. No, it won't be. Because again, there is a international, let's be very clear, there is an international nuclear safety commission and they go to every reactor to check and verify. And every country has to partake in. Because here's the deal, 3 Mile Island should not have happened, did happen. Chernobyl should not have happened, did happen. Fukushima Daiichi power plant should not have happened, did happen. So at some point you have to understand that it's playing with too many unknowns. And here's the deal. In 1970, there was no valid alternatives. Are there valid alternatives now? Yes, absolutely. There is offshore wind and there is solar. And you add pumped hydro, which again was made for nuclear, you are literally 80% there. And all you have to do is now add biogas. So again, when those bad days happen where you have not enough storage, but you do need source, you have biogas. Again, how do you get biogas? Well, human poop. There are billions of human, more than enough poop. Again, it will not run 24/7. That will be solar and wind. But again, you will have biogas for those scenario where you need that oomph. So that's there. That's also government should grant alimony in 10%. 10%. No, there should not be alimony. Alimony is fundamentally the idea that you suffered. Here's some money compensation. No, suffering is for. Think in this way: you go to do a job. Nobody likes any job. Like ask anyone who is doing a job, they're like, no, I'm not happy with it, but I'm getting paid for it. And again, some people are like, I'm getting paid a lot, I'm not, but again, it's up to them. And again, if you're not happy with it, leave. And again, should there be an option for leaving? Absolutely. But there should not be a like, oh, if she leaves, you still pay. If you leave, you still pay. It's like, no. That's like, too cuckery. If you do that much cuckery, nature will kill you. And again, it did. So there is no scenario where it's like, that's the whole point of suffering. It's like you get this and you get this penalty. If you're like, no, I do not want the penalty, but I want the glory. Yeah, that's like breaking the laws of equivalent exchange. And again, I do not mind. It was like, we should pass a law that, marriage should only be done if everybody agrees to it. It's like, fine, do it. No problem. But again, that's the whole point of it. It's like, oh, I was not happy. It's like, duh. It's like, who is happy in their job? Who? Is there any single country that's successfully able to manage inflation? Yeah, countries that are in OPEC. If you have your own fuel sources, it's super easy. That's why I keep saying we cannot control inflation unless we have our own seaweed biofuel. How to stop that? I'm sorry, I'm not the right person for that. What's your take on personal personal hygienes of India? Okay, now we are having improved something. Can we make a video on that? No, that's not the thing I want to do. How is your network fume extractor Mark II is working? Yeah, it's not. I have again the things are there, but it's that software part coding in ChatGPT is not working as smoothly as I expected. So that is still stuck in idle. I'm more interested in making Mark II of that hard drive cage because again it did work, it's working, rather than like actually making what you call like finishing. Things are there, mostly done, but I'm like too distracted. Wired or wireless, which is better sound quality? Wire. So there are no alimony concept in 1984. Yes, no. India like directly did not came in this. Like India did took you drifting into Dahej Patadan is the system. And again, the reason why Dahej Patadan is so messed up is like there is no penalty for lying. There is none. Like every law has a penalty. If you misuse this, only 498A has zero penalty. Like zero. Like legally there is zero. Oh, you lied. No problem. Go away. Men is like, what the hell? So if a country becomes cuck like that, it has to die. Like it's in nature's abomination against nature. And if you're like, women have been suffering, again, ban marriage if you have the balls. So do that. In one Indian Air Force official interview, they said they are building our own aircraft, even though it's not new technology, but it's our own, and can we use it as a base of? Of course, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. Again, like for example, I built this 3D printer. Is it my first thing? Hell no. I built so many trinkets, so many small things, and those things give me give me the knowledge in order to build something better. And again, that's how it happens. We should have never stopped our project. We did stop our project, and we suffered. You may have heard Power Pod 3 years ago. I recently searched it and couldn't find real life testing. Is it a scam? Yeah, I don't think it worked out the way people expected it to. How long OPEC lives? Fuel gonna be empty after a few decades? Yeah. Because ban marriage. No, ban marriage. I'm saying like for the people who say it's oppression. If it's oppression into your eyes, then ban it. No. Yeah, I know it's not oppression. Here's the deal. Whenever you call women a victim, you are fundamentally saying women are stupid. Like, here's the deal. Who is smarter, right? Ape or human? You'll be like, yeah, human. And who is stronger? Ape. Then who is in the cage? Ape, not human. Why? So if you call someone a victim, again, one person victim, no problem. Things happen, bad things happen. If you're saying whole subsection of a humanity is a victim forever, it's like at that point it's like no. You went into like something very messed up scenario. It's like basically Operation Olympics. Like I'm more oppressed, I should get more free stuff. Yeah, that's the easiest way to poof your own civilization. Why are we still using strap-on booster or NGLV? I do not know. Like India is scared of making an actual booster that is like strong enough on its own. It's like we are scared of it. It's like, but what if we make a cheap reactor and then cost 10 times more because we have to build small boosters and all that? I have no idea. Like I genuinely have no idea. How the heck you are thinking about a reusable system and then it's like, what if we have strap-on boosters? It's like, what if you don't? Like not a single private company is doing strap-on. Everybody knows that that's a dumb idea. Be it Neutron, be it SpaceX, as in like Starship of SpaceX, Rocket Labs, Neutron rocket, and then this Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin's, what is that rocket name? New Shepard, I think, that also there. So fundamentally, if you know, like again, if you are dependent on economics, you will never add a strap-on booster. It's much cheaper to have a stronger booster than having the equal rights but not equal accountability. Consequences, I think that's the word. That's the whole point. Because here's the then why women are getting married? If like it's been operation for 10,000 years, why are you getting married now? I know the answer is money, but like you're not supposed to say that. Like, okay. How to live in a presence where you know so much about the future. See, Gyani Prasad, you are asking the same thing. I told you, you have to let things go. You have to let things go. That's the whole point of adult life. You have to let things go. What do you think of SpaceX? I've already made a lot of videos on that. It's not a new thing. And there is a very good chance that on Monday, I might do a live stream. But again, that stream would be done in Hindi. So it won't be done on this channel. But that may lead it for Rocket Monday video to not come. I have made the video. It's just that if I have to do live stream, I will not upload that. So that's there. What is FOMO? Please, rate of feminism something. Can you please explain? Okay. So 4B movement is directly copy paste from basically South Korean reaction. Basically in South Korea, women did the same thing that they do everywhere, and then they're like, you know what, we have to work extra hard, and then it's again, if you see the four iterations of feminism, you will always see the first iteration, we are God, we can do everything a man can do plus everything a woman can do. So that's the God era. Then you come to bitch please era. So we are in that bitch please era. Now women are like, yeah, I cannot do a full-fledged like, you know, job, career and all that, and then also have a kid. I cannot do that. That's too unfair to ask. It's like, oh, it's almost like we have known this for 10,000 years, but like, okay. And then they're like, okay, it's unfair, it's not this and that. So they're like, we're not gonna have sex, we're not gonna have dating, we're not gonna get married, we're not gonna have baby. 4 Bs. That's the whole point of it. My apologies, I do have very bad cough, so to say. And my legs are also not working properly, so sometimes life goes like that. So that's the whole point. Where was I? Yeah, future part. That's the whole point. You have to let it go. It's not a 4B movement. Yeah. So now liberal women are like, you know, we're gonna lose our rights. Here's the deal. Let me be very blunt. If women want to change a law, they can do it like this, and they have done it. They were the one who literally created what we call organized crime. And now you're like, how the heck that happened? Well, you must have studied about this era, what we call probation era, where women banned alcohol. Now here's the deal, let me be very clear. The organized crime always happens into two things. The primary thing is like, you know, basically moral superiority people who are like, who want to control the people. That's why the hell is created. So these moral superiority people are the most destructive force there. It's like, what you do with your body is my control. It's like, no. If you're like, okay, drugs are bad, again, no problem, you don't do it. It's like, don't stop other people. And again, if people are like, hey, we do not want children to do it, cool, awesome, no problem. Everybody will agree with that. Heck, even drug lords will agree with that. It's just that you do not like stop it. Like again, the whole reason the organized crime happened because it's the first time women banned alcohol. Now, why alcohol is such a big deal? Everybody was drinking it, and magically you just like, no, men cannot have fun. So it's like, you know, and they can justify it 10 ways to Sunday, but again, it created the worst disaster. So it's not the whole thing. So when that happened, because alcohol was such a big industry, every people had to come together in order to, okay, I'm going to take care of station, I'm going to take care of police, I'm going to take care of distribution, I'm going to take care of money collection. That's how organized crime became a thing. Before that, there was no, like, think about this, like how the heck criminals are working together? They cannot. Only as long as you have people who are like moral superiority people, then you will have, hey, a lot of people want to do, they want to do something to themselves. If you say, hey, you cannot smoke in public place, me good. If you say you cannot smoke in your own house, F off. So those sort of moral superiority people, now they block, that's why they block prostitution also, because prostitution is older than God, and they're like, no, we have to control it, because again, it's like makes you feel very good, where you control someone else's. So they are doing that, and again, that's why we have organized crime. Everything about organized crime only comes down to two core factors: sex and drugs. Nothing else is there. So like, what about weapons? Those are auxiliary of that primary. Like if you slowly, again, because we have been villainizing it for so long, if you do it slowly, like let's say over 5 years of time, and you just like letting it go, like, you know, okay, we will not do this, the crime rates will go down. Organized crime will literally lose the money. But again, you know who will stop it? Criminals. Because again, they will no longer have the grand god tier power that they have because of moral superiority people. So it's one of those. Was the fuel is the use in third stage? I think all of them are the same fuel. I do not think people are nowadays using multi types of fuel systems. So most likely it will be all methane and oxygen. NCR possible in India by BJP? I do not know NCR. Please provide more context. Phobia movement is increasing. I think right now investment in stock company with makes 12-volt battery for. I do not know what you're going. I want to buy a mid-range GPU around 12,000, but at this price, I can get only 10-year GPUs with a 10-year-old GPU will be reliable. Hell no. Hell no. I will never recommend buy something that old, because be mindful. You have to understand. Lot of architecture, software architecture goes into a game. So for example, DirectX 9, DirectX 10, DirectX 11, those are a complete software API. So if you buy a very old graphics card, they has hardware for very old APIs. It will not be efficient in modern games. So buy something that is new. Do not buy something old, and especially that old. If you're buying that old, that means it's no longer even supported by the company that made it. NVIDIA only supports for like, I think 4 or 5 generations. So basically 10,000 is now being kicked out of that. Don't marry if you, they only bring problems. No, again, it's same in everywhere. That's why I say keep to people, go to family court. Go to family court. You're like, oh, rich woman problem. No, it's a poor woman problem. No, it's a every woman problem. That's why I say go to any family court. Go to any 150 countries. It's same story everywhere. It's just the idea that you do not want to suffer, and you're like, how can I cheat the suffering? I'm like, life is suffering. You have to suffer. It's just that either it's worth it or not. And again, that's why these women are so miserable. It's like they are suffering. They're like, hey, I thought everything would be fine. No, they're still suffering. It's just that now there is no value in that. It's like, oh, you're suffering for your sake. It's like, I'm making money. It's like, who cares? It's like me saying, oh, I make money. Every man would be like, yeah, duh. Welcome to adulthood. It's like, that's the whole point. Which branch of engineering has more utility in ISRO? I am not the right person to talk about that. And again, if you want to see what openings they have, go to ISRO site and they have join us, and they will give you a list. So should cannabis be legalized? Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, because there's still people who are like, moral Puritans. Other than them, everybody is like, hey, either I like it or I don't like it. The end. There is nothing more than that. And the moment you make it legal, it's like, so many criminals, poof. Like, think about it. It's like if you say, if put people in jail who smoke in public places, I can agree with that. If you're like, hey, we put parents in jail if they are underage kids are driving, fair enough. So we have certain agreement. Basically, do not affect the other, right? That's the first line. Do not affect the other, and second, do not affect the children, aka anyone below 18. Fair enough, legal, logical. Let's go. But everything above that, it's like, what if I take your rights? What if I take this? What if I masturbate? It's like, no, it's a dumb thing. You just indirectly explained about Shino Khartal, Roma drama. The whole thing. Phobia is increasing thing. See, I do not get what you are. Oh, okay. Oh, see, they will not do that. Here's the deal. Think about it. It's not like, hold on. Yeah. So this idea of like, abortion as a right. Now here's the deal. Abortion is legal in USA. It's very illegal in many other countries, including India. But in USA, it's legal. Now, what's the problem then? Problem is the timeline. Basically, 0 is when you get impregnated, and then 9 months when you pop out. Okay. So that's the time frame. Now here's the deal. Legally, most places do not give a damn about the early starting period, because it's like, hey, you are the only one who knows it, and you can take a day after pill, what we call that 24-hour contraceptive. Like you can do poofing if you think like you were exposed to, let's say, unprotected sex. Okay, cool. You have that option. Then you have some other options, and then it starts to become medically involved options. Now, as the timeline goes along, where it's like, it's a 5-month baby, 8-month baby, and yes, it is a baby. It's not a clump of cell, because it's not going to become anything else. It's not like, oh, I had unprotected sex, I got a plasma TB out of it. That's not going to happen. It's going to be a baby. Boy or girl, that's a different thing, but it's going to be a freaking baby. It's not going to be a puppy or a giraffe. It's going to be a baby. So people have different beliefs where they're like, you know what, till very certain point I'm like okay with it. They're not comfortable, but they're like, I can understand this. But you feel like, okay, 8 month, now I want to poof the baby at 8 month. Yeah, that people are like, no. Now here's the deal. Who are stopping it, right? If women had the power to basically block alcohol, why they can't take it? Because again, women are stopping it. Not men, women are stopping it. Let that be very clear. Women are stopping it. Why? Well, here's the deal. A lot of women understand this fundamentally, is that if you punish someone that is not responsible, like, so even if something bad happened to you and that's why you have a baby, if you punish that baby, there is a penalty for that. And a lot of women who gone through this, let that be very clear, gone through this, they are the one fighting it, they are the one blocking it. There's a lot of videos on YouTube where you can find like the woman went through this and she's like, I could never live with that, what you call, the guilt, the trauma. Because again, it's one thing to say first month, it's completely different in the last few months, completely different. And again, there is a very amazing doctor. He was a abortion specialist, and that he used to do hundreds of them. Now one day his child died. Okay, he said like a car accident happened, his child died. Now that's the first time his brain opened up and he's like, oh, what am I doing? He like almost fainted when he was doing the abortion. Again, he has done that 1,000 times, and he's like, the first time I actually saw a leg, that he was pulling out a leg, it's a freaking leg of a baby. It's not gonna be anything else. It's a human leg. So, and again, that sort of things has to be done. Why do medical have that? Because again, you can have injury. You could have natural abortion. Natural being like nobody intended it, but something happened. For example, incident like you slip and fall, or things of this nature. Basically, accidents that could happen. But at that point, child had to be taken out of the womb, and you cannot do that like in a whole piece. You have to cut it. Yeah, it's dark. And again, he is the doctor who did that, and he is very clear. After that, he was like, no, I'm not doing this. So there are a lot of doctors who are like, no, I'm not doing this, because something happened in their life where it's like, no, this is not a And here's the deal, you have so many options to stop it. Where says that, don't get hanky panky, use protection, use a day after pill. Again, if you had that had the motion and all that, okay, take after pill, right? You have this many options. It's like. So there's a lot of women, and again, I do not agree with the idea of women that are trying to protect younger women, because again, this is one of those things. It's like you have to make the mistake yourself. I get it. I even respect it. It's like, you do not understand the penalty of doing that action. It will haunt you. I get it. What women are doing. Their heart is on the right place. But again, it's one of those things like, I do not wish a child to be born to a family where he's not wanted or her is not wanted. So that's there. Don't laugh, they were most brutal cartel among the other cartel group. You can't even imagine their brutality. I have seen feminism, man. There is no brutality higher than that. Go to family court near you. Why 3D printers are expensive? What expensive in it? It's not a mass production item. Like companies like S Pen and HP and Canon, they sell hundreds and thousands of normal paper printer. Compare that to 3D printer, there are only few thousand made. And again, it's a big stuff with a lot of metal. So yeah, it's expensive. It's not plastic parts, it's a lot of metal, like a lot of metal. And again, you have to recover your costs. So compare that hundreds of millions of printer made so far versus 1 million or 2 million made 3D printer. So that's why 3D printers are so expensive. They are not a mass production item. Sorry about that. And again, after Ender 3, the price actually came down rather than lakhs or buying things that were so junk that you have to spend time in order to make it work. So it's a good thing. Why high-speed railway is failing in China? Again, China has a top-down authority. So the problem with top-down authority is that you see something, you want that thing, you do not do a study. Like you're like, okay, what if I build the tracks that goes everywhere? It's like, okay, cool, that will cost a lot of money. You did that, cool, awesome. Here's the deal. You do not have passengers. That's the problem. It's like building something is child's play. It's just that getting the money back, that's the hard part. And again, if you have top-down economy, that's why communism always fails. It's like somebody on top decides and then it's implied on people. It's like, that's not how things work. And again, high-speed railway has very huge costs. So you have to basically have a ticket that is very expensive. Like even in Japan, Shinkansen tickets are expensive AF. In I think Discovery or National Geography had a documentary about Shinkansen train, and they said like the one person who was like, you know, their liaison who was giving them the tour and all that, the gift that they give him, again the money and all that, they move that, the gift they gave him is like they finally, because he was the actual worker on bullet train but he never rode on bullet train because it was so expensive. So it's like that last trip was like, okay, here's the ticket, ride in the bullet train. And he was crying. I was like, you know, this is such a big deal. I walk in these machines but I never get to drive it. So China also started to start seeing a state collapse. Yeah, see, top-down systems are always like that. And again, checks and balances, removing checks and balances gives you very quick, immediate growth, but gives you a penalty. So that's why checks and balances are a good thing. So if they remove the checks and balances to economic growth, it's like, no, you are just debt growth, and that will come collect, and then you're like, poof. So China is stuck in the same scenario. It's like, yeah, we have the railway going everywhere to everywhere. It's just that they are not making money. And again, the debt they have collected is in $1 trillion. So it's not fun. It's not fun. So many times we kind of blame bureaucracy, but again, it's needed for a reason. It's needed. Again, you do too much of anything is bad. So you have to be reasonable about that. But having zero bureaucracy is a really, really bad idea. Like it's a so bad idea that China will buy one child policy and then they will die, and they're like, okay, 3 child policies, like, and nobody will make 3 child. So it's like, ta-da! That happened, past tense. So it's one of those things. Oh, nobody freaking donates an English channel, man. Come on. Come on, man. That's so mean. Again, even international viewer can do that. I have PayPal. Come on. Anyways, just okay. So that happened. Yeah, as to, hold on. Why you open your women who genuinely want to work and provide? No, most do not. And here's it's one of those things that when you are young and your body is like hot and tight and powerful, everybody can do everything. It's just that you have to understand it. You have to keep doing it till the death. That part that kills people. It's like every feminism is like, oh, I can make money, I can take care of it. Everybody enjoys doing that. It's just that once you start to get after 30 years old, it's like, you're telling me I have to keep doing this for next 30 years? Yeah, that's what breaks people. It's not that like, oh, I'm doing this. Yeah, 1 or 2 can do that. But again, you cannot run a country based on 1 or 2. You have to run the country on majority. And again, there are a lot of dumb men who trusted women. It's like, she's going to be the breadwinner, I'm going to take care of the house. All of those women divorce them. So it's one of those things. It's like on paper it works. 1 or 2 cases will of course work. You will have always predal distribution. So some courts will work, but majority will not. India's trade deficit is minus 27 billion. To figure out zero or positive, the rupees keep declining compared to dollar, right? I think so, yeah. Does India have good enough checks and balances compared to America? No, no, no. Why do you think we go to America and Americans don't come here? Like again, there are some Americans that have shifted here, but thousands and thousands are going there and only few are coming, so. The Bheem app is super slow, man. Okay, somebody finally donated. Okay, SBI, Subham Shahji, you have donated 11 rupees. Thank you so much. I think you did it from GPay. That's why I did not get the remark message, because remark is just UPI. But thank you so much. At least you have broken the seal, the curse. You have broken the curse. Somebody actually donated it. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Don't worry about that, 4B movement. It's not going to last. It's one of those things. Here's the people who are claiming that, abstinence is like, yeah, if you have abstinence, you do not have to worry about abortion. And again, some will like, what if R happened? It's like, it could happen. It's not a guarantee that, but again, if R happens, you also have day after pill for that exact reason, for that exact protocol it was created. It's like, do you think falling of Africa is due to bureaucracy? No, it's too much corruption. Bureaucracy in itself is not bad. It's corruption that is too bad. Like for example, here's the deal. If you, sorry about that. when you're poor, you kind of justify a lot of corrupt things. That's very destructive. That like destroys the what you call structure of the country itself. So they're like, oh, why you're stealing coal? Because again, I'm poor, I have to do it, I have to meet, like, again, one person does that, now the whole coal mafia does that, now everybody dies. So it's one of those things. So it's like, if you justify bad things because of corruption or poverty, it has a cascading failure effect. I'm not talking about with office talking anymore with office. Yeah, that's a wise policy. It's always wise policy. Just letting things go is always the wisest policy. Just let it go. Because again, you're gonna suffer anyway. It's just that going through family court is not worth it. Like that's not a suffering that is worth anything. That's like, nope. And trust me, go to any family court near you, then you will understand. Everybody's like, it's not gonna happen to me. It's like, yeah, it will. If two people are together getting married, child, still the same story. Yes, absolutely. That's why I keep saying go to the family freaking court. You will see everything. You will see rich people, you will see poor people, you will see people who have kids, you will see people who do not have kids, you will see people who are beautiful, you will see people who are ugly, all of them same story. Because here's the deal, one party will get money. The end. Marriage cannot function if one party gets free money. It's not gonna work. Like the end. You can keep talking about things, but like free money equals everything falls apart. So that's why nature kills any civilization that becomes this cocked. Free money equals, and here's the deal, if you are not happy, you should be allowed to leave. And again, if you want to have some alimony, again, for 1 year or 2 years, but not like, oh, till lifelong or till say, no. They're like, no, but she was suffering. That's the whole point. That's the freaking point. Like, imagine you are doing a job and then you start to complain. It's like, oh, I'm not happy in the job, so I need to leave the job, but I have to get paid. People are like, dude, that's not how it works. Everybody's unhappy in their jobs. That's life. Patil Harashi, you have donated 13 rupees. Wadapa. WADAPAW. Huh. Nice. IBL, I think, is your bank. Thank you so much. What are the chances of NOM project being successful? Zero, man. It has already downscaled. Alimony should not be for child nor for wife. Nope. See, that's the whole point. Every time somebody tries to safeguard, they create more bigger hell. It's like, that's like, you have to understand, it was never a good thing. Okay, it was always a suffering, but it was worth it. So now you are like, hey, what if the child suffers? It's like, welcome to the life. And if you're trying to protect it, now you incentivize. Everybody's like, no, he's bad for child. Like there was a feminist who actually used to write about the same basic stuff, and then she like actually did. Apparently, she was a lawyer, so she had to represent some men, and like in few years, she changed completely. It's like, no, this is not okay. Like that's the whole point. Because again, as a man who have never ever been angry, they will be like, he's the most evil person ever. He beats children and all that. It's like all of that will come up. And that's why it's like, you know what? If you want his money, you have to put up with him. You do not want to put up with him, no problem. You should be able to leave, but now you have to take care of yourself. That's what independence means. Independent does not mean, oh, I'm taking alimony and I am a strong independent. No, you are death sentence to a civilization. You want Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson? Nah, I'm not interested in combat sports, so to say. That serves no function. So I had other friends who are very excited about MMA and all that stuff. I am not one of them. I'm not one of them. So NOM project is like very funny. It's like they cannot say, because again, you live in a dictatorship, you cannot say that, oh, his idea was like, wrong and it did not work. It's like, no, we are doing the same thing. It's like, no, they are no longer even getting investments into that. So it started with all the hypes and bells and whistles, but then it went poof. Independence comes with a cost. That's the whole point. That's how it should be. It's like, you want independence? Cool, awesome, ultra GG, but suffer its penalty. It's like, I'm bitching about a country that has like such a good, strong army that is defending it, and I'm bitching about it. It's like, no, the reason why I have the luxury is because I have army. And again, imagine now you get the ability to, and again, how the heck America allowed this to happen is beyond me. It's like soldiers are coming home and their wives are banging someone else and they're someone else's kid and they have to pay. That happened to soldiers, and it's happening to almost all soldiers. And I'm like, yeah, you deserve to go poof. Like if you became that big of a cuck, at that point it's like nature is like, brah, my bad mistake, let me devolve you to animal level. It's like, no. What about small percentage of legitimate domestic violence? Again, let it go. If you are actually being abused, you see, domestic violence should be like, okay, the man goes to jail and you get freedom. Nothing more than no money transfer. The moment money transfer happens, everybody becomes a criminal. You cannot have money transfer. It's like, oh, he abused you, cool, leave. No bullshit, no bullshit, no horseshit. Just leave. Just leave. There is no bullshit. And again, if you're like, oh, he should be punished again, put him in jail. But no money. No money. Money cannot be transferred. You will see 5 minutes later, nobody will complain about it. Like, oh, there is no money in it. Then what's the point? And again, some bad things will happen. That's life. You can drive in a car and everything is fine, and then the flyover you are driving in is like goes poof. Then what? You are comfortably sleeping and everything is fine, and then earthquake happens. Poof. What can you do? Like protecting 1% and killing 99.999% of people is not logical. Suffering is part of life. You have to pay the price. Either you pay willingly or unwillingly, and you will be miserable as hell if you pay unwillingly. And again, that's why you say Liverpoolians are so angry, so resentful. We are making so much activity in space, won't it attract other living beings, aliens, or what the whole earth ends up there before we even reached Mars? It could happen, but again, as of now, we have understanding that nothing is there that is in very local vicinity, and we have a good reason to understand that you cannot cross light speed. If that is true, if these two axioms are true, light speed cannot be crossed, we have safe zone, like very good safe zone. We sorted. So we can do as much as we want. And again, if that happens, let's say we did an alien comes. So there are only two types of alien. It could be like super duper hyper advanced or someone who's as weak as us. If they are as weak as us, they are not a threat. And if they are super duper advanced, we are not a threat to them. So it's one of those things. It's like natural selection. You cannot never be perfectly safe. And again, if we do not go to Mars, we do not go to other solar system, we are definitely going to be poof, because sun will go poof at one point, planet will go poof at one point, things will happen. So expanding is the only long-term survival strategy. Everything. See, Ankit Singh ji, everything has that simple answer. Remove money and all the cases disappear. It's like, oh, again, imagine it this way. Like if you are actually being hurt, actually being abused, do you want money, or do you want like, hey, I just need the freedom? Think it through, like truly think it through. And again, what defines as domestic violence? Because again, according to Indian Penal Act, I think what's called, what do you call, Civil Code or something like that, is like if you yell at your wife, that's abuse. It's like, wow, what if she yells it? No, that's her right. It's like F you. So if a country becomes cuck like that, it has to die. It has to. Like nature is like, no. Do you believe in simulation theory? Heck no. Heck no. Why are subreddit in interactive? Your subreddit? Yeah, I do not do. See, I try to do everything, but can't. I'm a single person, so I get tired trying to manage the Telegram, barely do Discord, barely do YouTube, and barely do Instagram. So it's just too much. It's like as a single individual, it's too much. And again, that's why the video outputs has been so low recently. I'm getting tired, my legs hurt, and now I have a cold. Fair enough, understood. Yeah, fair enough, understood. That whole thing. Simulation. Yeah, fair enough, understood. Simulation, yeah, the likelihood of simulation theory is zero. It's like, sounds very fun, sounds very good, but again, and assume it this way, let's assume it even it's a simulation. Can you change anything in it? No, then what's the point of knowing it? Sometimes you have to understand, like there are questions, but not all questions are good questions. For example, you can ask a question, what is the smell of color red? That has no answer. Colors have no scent, but you can ask it. There is no point. You can waste your time, waste your life. And again, Sabrina, I think that's the female PhD holder's name. And again, she keeps talking about this science part, where it's like, from 1930, we have not made any fundamental upgrade in physics, because again, everybody is going round and round. It's like, what if this, what if that? Like, no, what if you had something that you can actually test and verify? No. What if we made new math? Yeah, that's a waste of time. So, India Consumer Code has a website, right to repair, I get to know now. Nice. Damn. Oh, one minor news, because again, when I was testing this hard drive enclosure, I did realize that my code, basically LAN cable, is a very weak link, meaning I have a lot of LAN cables that are good, but they are very small. I need a long LAN cable. Unfortunately, the LAN cable that I have has broken clips, and it's for some reason very finicky. So I have bought a quality Cat6 cable, unshielded, but Cat6, and on top of that, I have also bought the crimper and all that. So do expect, if things go well, do expect me to make a LAN cable, how to make your own LAN cable. That would be very good. NRC hoga by BJ. I do not know what NRC is. I'm here, so I can relate what you are saying. But if we were female by now, cancel and would be trending on Twitter. Yeah, it has happened. It's like it's at some point it's just like you have to let go. At some point you have to let it go. So we're not told that science is dying and say justify. Well, is it really dangerous? It's really dangerous. Yeah, that's the point. It's like you cannot have science if you cannot because again, let that be very clear. Science does not care about understanding. Science cares about prediction. Meaning, does Newton know everything about gravity? Hell no. He did not even had like space-time continuum or general relativity, but he understood gravity. How do we know he understood it? Because he can predict it. He can predict the motions and reasonably accurate enough. When you can do that, all things go away. That's the whole point of science. Predict things with reasonable accuracy. If you can't predict things, then it's like, what's the point? What do you think about Muslim got right? Hindu does not. Again, we became cuck. We will pay the price. As simple as that. USB data locker Mark II when? No. That I'm not even trying to make Mark II. That I'm not even trying to make Mark II. Which is your favorite breed of dog? Dogs are dogs, man. Your breed does not matter. Dogs are dogs. I like street dogs also. I think I may have few dog photos in my Instagram also. So if you want to see, again, not my own dog, but I do not give a damn about space and all that. Man. YouTube deleted my comment about comments about yeah, that will happen. And again, that should be another point. If you are not allowed to criticize something, things have gone wrong. Like seriously, things have gone very wrong if you are not allowed to criticize. And again, if something is like, no, it's absolutely perfect. And again, I have seen way too many idiots who are justifying. They have suffered in the past. Here's the funny thing, problem with that. Now you are making men suffer. Their children will now exact vengeance. Then what? You are taking men to the court and you are extracting every ounce of dignity and wealth out of them. Imagine their sons. What will they do to you? And this time they will be justified. It's like, oh, we suffered. That's why you can never ever use past tense. You have to let things go. If you do not, you create a circle of violence that never stops or never breaks. At least dogs are loyal. Fact. Anyway, this has been 1 hour and now I'm tired. Thank you so much for this interesting live stream. Lot of interaction, some good stuff and all that. I won't focus on other countries. Doesn't mean China might attack Taiwan in near future. Doubtful. But anyway, I will see you guys maybe on Monday or maybe on the next Saturday. But bye. Thank you for watching.